And we're live. Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome back to another Lift Up Live broadcast. I'll be your host today. I'm Andrew McCaskill, Chief Commercial Officer at Fraser Dove International. Now, usually these broadcasts are hosted by my colleague Louise Williams, who's the Managing Director here at FDI. But towards the end of last year, we did a very special male allyship broadcast because we believe that male leaders have a role to play in driving diverse teams as well. And we wanted to showcase and continue to showcase male executives within life sciences that are building inclusive teams. They're not just talking about it, they're actually doing it, and they're getting results. They're getting performance as a direct result of their commitment to building those types of cultures. So we've got an incredible panel lined up for you today who are going to share how they're doing that, why they're doing that. They're going to also answer live in terms of the Q&A as well. But for those of you joining us for the first time, let me just talk you through a little bit more about Lift Up and how the session today is going to work whilst you're joining. So Lift Up is a group dedicated to connect, inspire and champion women from academia all the way through to C-suite across the life science industry. It's not something that we're monetizing from a membership point of view at all. It's a pure community play for mission-driven people to work on that mission together. And we've been going for about 2 years now. It was set up by a very talented group of ladies within Fraser Dove International, and they've done amazing work, mentor programs, in-person events, and a number of these broadcasts that have reached over 100,000 people worldwide. So I'm really proud as a colleague of those ladies to be able to join one of the broadcasts today and to observe what they're doing, because it's very powerful. Now, the power of these broadcasts is also about the community and the comments. So you'll see the comments area on this live stream as you're joining it. At any point within the stream, if you want to put a question to our panel, please just type it in the comments, put a Q in front of it, and what will happen is it will show up and we'll put it on the screen, just like we have with this one, and we'll put it to our panel and get you some live answers on your key questions. So without further ado, let's meet our panel members today. I'll invite them up one by one to give us, I guess, a quick 1 minute intro or so in terms of who they are and what they do. The first on my list is Jimmy Van Hove from Viralgen. Good afternoon, Jimmy. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Andrew. Andrew, very good.
Good. Thank you again for joining us. Can you just introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Absolutely. So my name is Jimmy Van Hove. I'm the CEO of Viralgen and TAF. We are a company that is active in the CDMO industry. We provide manufacturing services with a specialization in AAV. We're based in the Basque Country in Spain. We have 3 sites and we have about 500 people working here in Spain. Our composition of the team is pretty special. We have 70% female colleagues and 30% men working in our company. And yeah, a bit about myself. So my background is in bioscience engineering. Have been working for a variety of companies and have been exposed as well with this to a lot of diverse teams and some less diverse and some very inclusive and some less. So I experienced firsthand what it is, how it can drive better outcomes when we have very diverse and inclusive teams. So that's why I'm certainly in LA and very happy to be here and to speak and to comment on some of the questions you'll have. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, we're very lucky to have you with us, and I look forward to finding out a little bit more around how you've managed to achieve that mix and balance within the team as the broadcast carries on. So next up, joining us, we have Juan Camilo Arjona. How are you doing, Juan Camilo?
Very good, Andrew. Very good. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here. So I'm Juan Camilo Arjona. I'm the head of R&D and chief medical officer of Organon. Organon is a pharmaceutical company dedicated to advancing women's health. And therefore, our commitment to making the world a better place for girls and women is relentless. I am a OBGYN by training. I've been in industry for the last 22 years, always in drug development. And now as a leader at Organon, it is not only my personal passion and mission, but also what drives the company forward is how do we make this this world more equitable for girls and women. And I'm really excited to be part of the discussion today.
Fantastic. And we're very excited for you to be joining us as well. Thank you very much for your time. And again, I know from our previous conversations, there's some very interesting things going on at Organon in this space. So look forward to you sharing more. And last but certainly not least, we have Alexander Seyf joining us as well. Alexander, nice to see you again. Can you introduce yourself to the community, please?
Sorry, do you hear me, Andrew?
We can hear you loud and clear, sir. No problem. Can you hear us, Alexander?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Yes. Do you hear me? Or
Yep.
am I? Okay.
We
Well,
can hear you.
yeah, I have a problem to hear you guys, but let me, shall I go for introduction? Introduction? Okay. So my name is Alexander Seyf. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Autolomous. Autolomous is about bringing digitization connection to cell and gene therapy, which is a new pillar of medicine within biotech. My background is, so I studied physics and then didn't practice it that much after leaving the university, but went to more technology. So my passion is to bring technology to different principles. I've operated in comms and high tech, financial services, and retail manufacturing. And my latest venture has been in biotech that I started back in 2019. So I just got acquaintance with the industry back in late 2018 and saw the miracle of it, that it's more curative rather than just being addressing symptoms, but it's just at the core of medicine and therapy. So I was really very taken by this, and I thought, how can we help by bringing more technology so we can bring more streamlining manufacturing, bring the cost of therapy down, because today the cost is very prohibitive to have accessibility, cost anything from 300,000 to millions. So that's really not make it accessible and affordable for millions of patients worldwide. And one of the key elements of that is because we still execute this therapy manufacturing by manual processes using pen and paper and a lot of manual steps. So we wanted to bring automation, and what better to bring a digital workflow management in the midst of it, so we can really capture digitally all the information and make sure that the integrity of data is there, and we can also scale it out as many as we can. This type of medicine currently is run in two different principles, either autologous, patient to patient, or allogenic, one healthy donor to many patients, but still is very low quantity. So we need to really look at scaling it out rather than scaling it up. And we have done it successfully. Today we have over 21 clients worldwide. We are present in Europe, UK, and United States, and growing very rapidly in these markets. And we're going to start more entities in Europe this year, and the next one is going to be Holland. And the thing that it really gets me up in the morning is what we do has a direct impact in patients worldwide, and make this reality of medicine accessible to many patients everywhere. I think, I don't know if I've gone over 60 or 90 minutes, but that's about me.
No, I think we're about 90 seconds there. So thank you very much for the intro. It sounds like a very worthwhile mission, and congrats on the growth so far. I can see the comments starting to appear as well, which is fantastic. If you're here live with us, say hello. Tell us where you're joining from in the comments. We're always delighted to hear which companies or locations people are joining us from. And as I said earlier, if you've got a question for the panel, we've got some great topics to cover today anyway, but if you've got a question you want me to put to the panel, put it in the comments and I'll certainly put it to them a little bit later on. But say hi, tell us where you're calling from in the comments. That'd be fantastic. So let's kick things off. Let's get straight into it with a highly debated topic, I would say. So in many ways, I think diversity as a topic has become almost like the new greenwashing in the marketplace within life sciences, in that a lot of people are chucking up on their website, but they're not necessarily believing it or really following through on any commitment to building diverse teams. So my first question to you as C-level executives within life sciences is, why is building diverse teams more than just a tick box exercise? And I think we'll go to Jimmy first of all. Jimmy, if you're happy to talk us through your thoughts on that.
Yeah, happy to kick this off. Generally for me and for us, it's just more than lip service. And one of my personal experiences in teams that are slightly less diverse is definitely that the outcome of some decision making is usually different. And what I see now in my current team and the teams that were, I think, in my perspective, very performant, where basically that if you have a diverse female male group that is also inclusive, usually leads to more reflection and better paced decision making when decisions really matter. And I have experienced both sides, where you have a team that is less diverse, and usually there sometimes the outcomes are just not as good because there is more groupthink, there is less challenge, and if there is challenge, it's maybe not for the right reasons. It's more maybe a discussion against, let's say, people, but not so much what is the different perspective that the people bring. And that is something for me what clearly stands out, that with a diverse group, you definitely have people that think very different and are also, let's say, very composed and very well balanced to do that in a group that is inclusive. So that is for me a first point why I strongly believe it's certainly not a tick the box exercise, but you as a leadership team really need to lead that. Otherwise, it's just lip service, and that is something for us where we're very intentional about. I'll pause here for a second because I can go on, but I'll also let the others comment.
Thank you very much. I think you've got us started down a really nice train there. One biotech founder once said to me, "Echo chambers don't scale," and I thought that was a really cool way for a founder of a science-focused business to describe it. That groupthink that you mentioned there, Jimmy. Juan Camilo, are you happy to build on your thoughts and build on what Jimmy shared with us there, please?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll start by just agreeing completely with every point that Jimmy made. It cannot be just a box ticking exercise. If you just check the box, you're not going to deliver on all those benefits that Jimmy pointed out. The richness of the discussion, the difference in perspectives coming from people with different backgrounds or different walks of life, just enriches the conversation and allows you to see things that you otherwise, based on your own biases, probably wouldn't see. So it's just richer. But if those voices are not heard, when the concept of diversity is not really embraced, just check the box, then those voices don't get they don't get heard, they don't get incorporated in the decisions, and therefore the outcome is not there. So to us, not only it has the impact on the outcome and the process and the richness of the discussion, but also I'm a big believer, and we share this at Organon, that companies are nothing but a bunch of people doing the best they can, right? Hopefully. And if people don't feel they belong, that they are part, they can contribute, that they can add value, then the impact that they can have is less. So it is as a C-level executive, when you are looking across the board in an organization, and we have a global 10,000 people company, so you have to look across many different cultures and areas of the world. You have to be thinking, and how do you tap into those different voices, those different ways of thinking, and really give them the opportunity to contribute and to add value.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you without question as well, what you're saying is resonating with the audience here. We've already got others saying such important topics and great discussion. Excited for more of the insights. Looking forward to listening to this. Great topics. Good to see a mix of men and women joining the broadcast as well for our male allyship episode, which is very, very good. So just putting that back up for you, Alexander, what's your views on this topic about making it more than just a tick box exercise, and why is it more meaningful than that to you and your executive group?
Sure. Now, last but not least, right? I think two gentlemen previous to me, my colleagues, they have really depicted the whole rationale behind diversity in an organization. For me, the diversity goes in multitude of direction. It's not just women and men. They're not, the diversity goes across nationalities, age, and everything else. And all my 4 companies have started, that has been the prime part of the objective of any startup that I have done, and I believe is the same, the gentleman sharing with me. 50% of us are from each gender, right? So it would be really unwise if we are prejudiced to 150% of it. I mean, statistically, it's really not that smart. So we need to include all different types of nationalities, genders, and backgrounds, and that, as Jimmy said, you really harness the best of everything, and whatever we deliver through our organization, ultimately it relies on the people. So the people are true assets of any company, not the product, not the services. So if you want to get the best of any company, we need to invest in the best people, and the best people come in with this diversity in general. So I believe, having a multi-diverse organization, you really harness the best of humanity, and it is unquestioned. I mean, it is not just having the tick in the box, as Jimmy said, 50-50 or whatever. No, you shouldn't even think about it. It should be as part of any fabric of any organization, any strategy. Today in our organization, there is absolutely no sense of, if it is woman or man. We have more, actually, we have majority now. We passed that threshold, if you want to measure it, which I'm not very keen to do it, but we have more female, and sometimes you have more male, but we need to respect humanity in general without thinking about the gender, the background, the nationality, the belief, or anything of such. So that's what you get best out of what you have. And I absolutely believe equality is a key part of the success of any organization.
Very good. A very inspiring start. Thank you, everybody. I've seen we've just had a bit of a spike of people join us. So very welcome if you're just joining us. I realise it's 1/2 the hour in a lot of places. So perhaps people are coming off other calls and things. If you're joining us live, say hello, tell us where you're calling from. And by all means, if you want to put a question to our panel, just put a Q and write the question in front. But I'm going to plow on as well with, delving a bit deeper. So you've all explained in a really nice way there why diversity is more than a tick box, and it's something that you believe drives high performance, and that you're making drive high performance in your own organizations. One of the keys to achieving this, though, is clearly building inclusive cultures. So what I'm keen to understand as the next step is a bit more around the how. Like, how do we think about inclusivity so that we can get the outcomes that we're looking for? Juan, Camilo, I'd love to start with you if you're happy to pick up on that topic for us, please.
Yeah, this is such an important topic because putting the words is easy, making it happen and making it stick is the hardest part. And I think that it starts from the top. If you don't have a clear putting the money where their mouth is from leadership in the company, where you don't see that actions are taken to select the best candidate for a role, or to give opportunities in an equal way, and then demand from your direct reports that, or hold them accountable to the similar principle, then it's not going to work. It's not only talking the talk, but walking the walk. It is really looking for where the best talent is, and where the person that can add the most value to the particular topic or project that you're talking about. I'm proud to say that I've been able to achieve. I don't know if it's the only one in industry, but I'm certainly very proud. My whole leadership team in R&D at Organon is made of women right now, not by chance, not by trying to force the box, but because they were the most talented people that I could find for each of the functions. So it is really that mindset, and then, as I said, leading by example.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much. Alexander, earlier you spoke about, trying to get the best out of the broad range of humanity in your business, which I thought was a nice way to explain it. How do you think about setting up a culture that drives that?
Sorry, Andrew, I couldn't hear the full question. Is it possible to see that in the script, please? Yeah. how do you create inclusivity? I think the inclusivity, if we look at it, I would go actually further from a talent perspective. I believe strongly that talent doesn't come with the age either, right? So today we need to also adapt us to the current society, and reflection of the society is very much about youth. So we embrace youth to bring in, and we have, university grads, and even prior to that, we offer internship. Because if you want to make a difference in the society, we need to start from somewhere, and we believe our ecosystem is a good place to start. And inclusiveness needs to be very much into the culture of organization. I believe both of my colleagues have echoed that, and I can't echo it more. It is nothing that you need to one day decide tap in to inclusivity and tap off the inclusivity. It just need to be part of it, and by really, having a team spirit and a strong culture of collaboration, strong culture of complementing each other, and working together for a same mission. That's the kind of key elements of inclusion. A lot of organizations, they have different agendas. They have personal, individual agendas, and then they have corporate agendas. And if they are not aligned, it creates a lot of discrepancy, and it creates it destroys inclusiveness. Inclusiveness, it comes from same mission, same goal, and the tendency of the organization by individuals and by employees. That really forges the culture of company and defines the mission. So I would say we really emphasize a lot on the culture in general, and we start from day one. Our interview process is quite stringent, because we want to have the best talent without thinking about anything behind that. And we look at different backgrounds. We're not just looking from biotech or technology. We have people with history major, with economics, and the rest of it. So inclusiveness needs to be very much looking at diversity in a bigger picture, I would say.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We've got Sam joining us, who's a consultant at Vertex. This is a great discussion, and thank you for your allyship. Thank you for joining, Sam. Jimmy, we know from the talent market that the culture at Viralgen is really well respected for its inclusivity, and you have a really good reputation having driven that. So you're clearly doing lots of things right. Keen to understand, as CEO, obviously you're setting the tone for this. What are you intentionally doing to try and create inclusivity and drive that forward? Because it certainly seems to be working.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, for the question. So I fully agree with what I said, and I want to pick up on the leading by example piece, and just to give a concrete example of how myself as a CEO, not just say, but also do. At some point, a colleague of ours, we were looking in recruiting and basically understanding how we would nominate a person for a new role. And basically, the best person for the job was selected. And when I had a one-on-one conversation with that colleague, it was a pretty big step. And the person itself shared with me, yeah, okay, I'm actually fine, I'm up to the challenge. However, I'm pregnant. Isn't that going to be like a problem because you need someone now? And then as a leader, you can react in two ways. Like you can say, in effect, we need someone now, let's look at this. Or actually, you can really lead by example and say, no, actually, that is not part of the reason why we nominate. We don't nominate you for your availability in the next 6 to 12 or 15, whatever months you would like to take or you need for starting your family. No, actually, what I did and what everyone does at my leadership team and anyone below is first congratulating and saying like, this is fantastic news. And second is, okay, we'll figure it out. Whenever you're back, you tell us you're there and your role will be there for you because you have been selected for that role. No? And it's these smaller nudges, but also how you lead that conversation and how you make that a positive event that you basically manage, but not make anything else out of it. That really, I think, make a difference. And a very second part to this and linked is we have a lot of conversations generally about work-life integration and flexibility. There is no prescriptive thing of what you need to do, but generally the flexibility that you need if you have a family, if you start a family, definitely allows people to be very inclusive and basically be part. And myself as well. I have a very young son. Actually, my son was born exactly at the time that I got nominated as CEO. So that was a fairly complicated, but my team knows that in the morning between 8 and 9:30, usually I'm basically together with him and dropping off in school, etc. So these type of examples is, really leading by example and makes everyone very comfortable to do the same thing, both male and female. And that allows actually good recruitment and good positioning of people within their roles for what they're worth, and not so much for, the exact small situation or the availability at that point in time.
I love that. Yeah, leading from the front on that, and you got to spend. They don't stay little for very long, So you got to spend the time. That's absolutely what you've got to do. Can you just build on what work-life integration means to you? Obviously, we hear a lot about work-life balance, don't we? Which feels impossible, probably to everybody, whether they've got a family or not, at times in this 24/7 and global marketplace that we all operate in. But can you just define? You use that phrase work-life integration rather than work-life balance, and I sense that you use that deliberately.
Yeah, absolutely. I think work-life balance means that there is a prescriptive way of what balance is looking like, and only when you have a balance, you're doing the right thing, which would perhaps be a 9 to 5, or you cannot work too long, etc. I think with work-life integration, one needs to define for their own what is and how do they integrate their private with their work and just themselves make that balance. And sometimes the balance is very differently. I can tell you, sometimes I have exceptionally long weeks, and I know as well my teams. And sometimes actually, no, I do have reduced days even, and I can just take like a half a day and spend half a day with the family. And that is why I intentionally mean work-life integration. It's something that you need to choose regardless, that fits your kind of situation. And then ultimately it's about outcomes, right? How you do it, but then also finally, what is the outcome that you drive? And those are the things that we as leaders should be looking at, and not necessarily be very prescriptive. And I think the work-life balance, to me, has this kind of prescriptive connotation that I think is not always very helpful.
Yeah, and feels impossible. Feels like that you're failing in some kind of way in trying to achieve it. Quite often, I've definitely felt that. So blend over balance, I think, is what I'm hearing, which is a good way to think about it. Sandra's posed an interesting question for us today from a Q&A perspective. So thank you very much for doing so, Sandra. And if anybody else wants to put any questions forward, I can see there's a few more coming through now. Please do. So Sandra's saying allyship often focuses on supporting underrepresented voices, but how can we move from supporting to sponsoring talent from diverse backgrounds into leadership roles? Very true. All three of the individuals joining us today, I think, have got a track record of active sponsorship, which is fantastic and is showing in the results. But Juan, Camilo, can you do you want to pass some comment there? Because I think Sandra's making an interesting point.
Yeah, I think I saw the three comments that Sandra posted are really spot on. But this one is very important, and it comes to almost the beginning of our conversation about that ticking the box, right? When you talk about allyship, like, yeah, I support you, pat on the back and say, yeah, I'm with you. That's not enough. You need to speak for people that are not in the room. You need to create the opportunities. Is that sponsorship that Sandra's talking about that's critical. At Organon, we have a something we do at the executive leadership committees, that every week when we meet, we dedicate a certain amount of time to present talent that's coming from the different functions, the different parts of the organization, not only to provide that sponsorship, get visibility to the leadership team on the talent in different parts of the company so that people know who we're talking about, but also where they want to go. What is that career that they are looking for? And then we ensure that at least one or two of the senior leaders of the company, of the executive members of the committee, will reach out and connect personally with that person that was presented. So that creates a flow of information and understanding of who we have and what's the potential talent in the organization for the future. And from that pool of people that are presented, and is changing all the time, many of the leaders of the company come. So that's a way that we structure sponsorship in the way we work at Organon.
Yeah, that's really powerful, because that goes beyond just mentorship, doesn't it? You're into championing, is that right?
That's exactly right. That's the word.
Yeah, that's very powerful. Alexander, do you have any thoughts on this? I'm not hearing your audio now, Alexander, unfortunately.
Sorry.
There you go.
Is my sticky finger that they put mute on.
No problem.
I think one of the key parts for me is around really meritocracy rather than bureaucracy, because bureaucracy kills a lot of spirits and the kind of stream of talent, or the communication between entities, and also that sponsorship you're depicting. Supporting and sponsorship can really flow to an organization when you have meritocracy rather than bureaucracy. So we sponsor meritocracy a lot. We have got flat organization, which makes everybody equally valued in an organization. And one of the things that I always endorse in organization: don't wait for people to ask for help. Really be proactive to offer the help and support. And I believe that's a very important part of sponsorship, because sponsorship is allowing people to really voice the way that they think, and by by really having the appetite of learning all the time, and having the support of organization to express yourself, and to be able to receive support without thinking that you're less important than others because you're asking for support. I believe that spirit of openness and meritocracy is quite important to endorse that.
Very true. Thank you very much, Sandra. I hope that gave you some further food for thought on your question, and thank you for the question. By all means, in the comments, let us know what you think we should be doing more, Sandra, as well. We'd be interested to hear from you. I'm going to go to another one of your comments, Sandra, because I thought this was an interesting topic as well. And Jimmy, if you're happy to comment on this. So Sandra saying, whilst we're speaking about allyship and the importance of DE&I, how do we reconcile this with the current reality, where many companies, possibly influenced by the current political climate, are quickly stepping back from their DE&I commitments? So how can we make sure that the right efforts are sustained with authenticity beyond just quotas or compliance and that tick boxing that we were talking about earlier? Do you have any thoughts on that particular piece?
Yes, certainly. And thanks for the question. So my thoughts on this are, if you, from the start, from the get-go, are very authentic about what you try to achieve with diversity, then basically whatever is going on is actually more noise around geopolitics and basically politics, right? Because for us, there is nothing that affects the way we now lead the company differently than potentially voices and some of the resistance that you currently see. So to me, it is really, if you as a leadership team really believe why you need diversity and why you need inclusiveness, then basically you are not going to be swayed off your course, because it's just the way you do things, and it's just better outcomes, right? So I'm sometimes a bit really surprised about the companies that actually are now either pulling back or doing these type of activities, because I just don't see, if you're really committed to something, why now all of a sudden that would change, right? But yeah, that is my kind of humble opinion. But we neither have, let's say, a lot of program or a lot of kind of promotional things around this, because it's part of our DNA. You do it and that's it. So there is neither kind of, dialing it down or up again, right? It's just, so that's my humble opinion on this.
Yeah. It's not a bandwagon that you've jumped on. It's a belief that drives your growth strategy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Juan, Camilo, any further thoughts on that? We have seen people removing some of these initiatives, haven't we? Some stateside in particular.
Yeah, I can only reiterate what Jimmy said. It's cultural, right? What's the culture of the company? How's the company made? And those statements or positions that have been put in websites or whatever that are now being removed that you refer to, where they're really meant to be there, or where, as you just said, Andrew, jumping on a bandwagon of the moment. I think that I go back to the principles that we discussed at the beginning. The value of people with different perspectives, the value of people with different backgrounds. I tell my team all the time that the best idea can come from anywhere, and it's just enriching the pool of people that you have, where the best ideas can come from, and creating an environment that they feel they belong, that they can make a contribution without fear of retaliation, without fear of being put on the side. So I think it's a cultural principle versus a just what's on one page.
Absolutely. And our friend Sandra, I think, has nailed it with this particular text. The true test of leadership is sticking to what's right, even when it's no longer trending. There you go. In a sentence. Nailed it, Sandra. Absolutely nailed it. I'll be surprised if you don't work in marketing with that sort of ability to turn a phrase. Khaled asks, how can allyship be a driving force in developing future-ready leaders? Alexander, what do you think future-ready leaders need to look and act like? What's your thoughts on the future of leadership and the types of people that we need to develop next within the industry?
Right. I'm going to be unorthodox on this one. I don't think leadership is something. I mean, I always ask people who's your first audience in leadership. A lot of people that say my team, people around me. I believe the first audience in leadership is yourself. Whoever can lead themselves, they can lead others, and the others comes by time, comes in the circumstances, and in a point of time you find yourself. I believe leading, it's really setting an example of what the right or wrong is. As we heard, there are a lot of noises out there that really disturbs the equality and I would say the civilization as it stands. It challenges us, right? If we look at globalization, is a shared fact. A lot of people want to go against it, but how can we do that? Diversity is part of the fabric of most of organizations. So how can we go about it or go against it? So I would say just openness and encouraging people to voice their opinion is very, very important, because it really encourages people to take the stand, to lead on the leadership, and what is the future leadership, how we can build it. I think by inclusiveness, by really openness, by cultural elements, by believing in each other, by believing in humanity in general. We don't need leaders to lead us. We need ourselves to lead. But then sometimes, uniforming people forward, we need maybe a leader. But I think leadership starts from one, him or herself, we believe. So it's difficult to, I don't believe you can train leadership. It's just you need to be very open and be hungry to learn, to understand, and have a comprehension of humanity and respect for humanity. I believe it's a key part. We all seek respect, we all seek trust, but the first imitation of that is ourselves. So yeah, be you true yourself. Seek the truth in others, and be respectful, be humble. I believe humbleness is another key attribute of a great leader. Just forge forward and be open to make mistakes. We always think that great leaders, they don't make mistakes, but believe it or not, if you don't make mistakes in plurals every day, you're not a good leader. Leadership is daring to make mistakes and challenge the status quo. So challenging the status quo requires to make mistakes. So I don't know if I hope Khalid, that was very disjointed, but I hope you get something out of this.
Very interesting thoughts. Thank you very much. James Gaines has asked, from a hiring point of view, how do we ensure there's a balanced shortlist without compromising on quality, which I think is a good question. How do you think about the hiring side, Jimmy? We'll come to you quickly on this, and then I'm really keen before we wrap to get some of the positive stories from your own businesses. So can you just quickly talk on the hiring side and how you think about diverse slates of candidates and things?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is something where, as a team, you need to be very, very vigilant, because it can soon be like we need two females, we need two males, etc. So that, I think, is not the way on how you filter. For us, we mentioned that a few times. You need to have a meritocracy process, and ultimately just let the CVs and basically the rounds be selected really on the capability of the person, and then basically go through the rounds. And if then at the end you have a different ratio, then that's okay, because you were recruiting on meritocracy. So this is something, I don't think that there's really a magic formula, to be honest. I think it's really focusing on the meritocracy process. And ultimately, as we say, right, statistics, 50-50 generally as a population. So if you recruit from, let's say, a population pool, you will end up one way or another with the ratio that is representative. So
yes,
that is my short answer.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think in some areas we see people hired on CV but fired on behavior. And actually, if you focus on behaviors, you can more broadly, in future predictors of success, values, cognitive ability, behaviors, these types of things, you can broaden up the pool beyond just the CV. And I think that's where progress can be made. So thank you very much for that. I'm very keen to get some examples from you of some of the female leaders who are doing great things in your businesses. The mission here is to champion and inspire women across life sciences. Nothing does that more than hearing some of these stories. So Juan Camilo, can you talk us through an example for the audience of a female leader who's achieving great things at Organon with you, please?
Yeah, as I said, all my leadership team is women, so you're just getting me in trouble here.
Yeah, you got to pick one. Yeah,
make it really hard. There is a person that is really contributing significantly to our work right now. As part of my whole team, is Jen Jakubowski. She just took over as head of regulatory affairs. Has a great experience in CMC regulatory, and now is taking all regulatory, and the impact is evident. So I could go for a long time. As I said, every single person in my leadership team should be highlighted here. Liz, Sally, Kristen, everybody. I would want to say all the names, but in the spirit of this, yeah, I would highlight Jen from the team.
And she's having a big impact by the sounds of it.
Yeah, everybody is. We are really firing at all cylinders in R&D at Organon, and I really attribute it to this leadership team that we have in place right now.
Yeah, well done. Keep going. And Alexander?
Right. For me, it's quite easy, actually. So I have a VP of product commercialization in my organization. Her name is Alexa Krochanesco, and she is just absolutely amazing and key leader in my organization. I've known Alexa for over 12 years, so she was in my previous startup as well. She's just absolutely force of nature, both in terms of leadership, understanding, flexibility, and diversity of talent, I would say. And is just remarkable how adaptive she is in terms of learning new skills. I remember I recruited her as an intern 12 years ago in my previous organization, and she was studying economics and she didn't know anything about technology, and suddenly after a year she was one of the experts, and then she went to security and understood security and GDPR and compliance, and she's just absolutely amazing. And she's been in this industry of cell and gene therapy for the past 4.5 years, and if you listen to her you might think that actually she has been here since start of the whole industry. And I believe this is one of the attributes of being open and giving opportunity to everyone. And for me, I don't want to be prejudiced, but I cannot believe there is any man who can replace her in the talent. And so I need to go the other way, but she's just absolutely phenomenal. And I need to be prejudiced here. We are sitting as a men here, and we just expressing ourselves. We want to include and be inclusive for women. Women, they are amazing because they have the appetite for challenge. They're always hungry to learn more and do things differently. We are very monotone in our way of thinking, unfortunately, men, as all four of us are. But women, they are very much open and they go and get her. They stand any challenge. And okay, I need to say they're smarter than us, but hey, smarter than me at least. But I can't praise Alexa enough, and she is just future.
Love it. I certainly wouldn't disagree with anything that you've said. So Jimmy, final say to you on this, if you've got some examples of some people that are doing a great job.
Yeah, for me, half of my leadership team is as well female, so I could say Conchi, Ana, Marta, Maria Iglesias, Saldier, and Sarah. They're doing exceptional jobs. I think with respect to what I've said before, I would just like to point out the CFO, Marta, for the reason that work-life integration piece, she's nailing it, one. And second, I don't know a person that is that productive. So how much she can get into a day and then basically also organize part of the family is pretty generally impressive. And then that's, I think, just related to the discussion, someone that I certainly would put forward. But each individual, all of them are doing amazing jobs, and that's why they're also part of the leadership team out of their merit. So
fantastic. Well, I'm really glad that we finished on that note, because that's a really positive area to finish in. Thank you all so much again for investing the time. Sounds like all of your organizations are taking really positive steps and are creating great cultures, which has been lovely to hear about. If you're watching the replay and you've got any follow-up questions, please put them in the comments and we'll pass them forward. The recording will be available for anybody that registered but couldn't join us live today. And just big thanks again from the whole Lift Up community. There are, for any of the women joining, there are genuine male allies out there. It's not all just marketing. Like, we genuinely do care. We believe in equity of opportunity, and we believe that we all need to champion each other. So it's very genuine and authentic with this group and lots of other groups that are out there. Thank you all very much, and good luck for the rest of the quarter. Speak soon. Take care.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.